ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। Hanji, welcome to another session. Khoj Gurbani, Ravinder Singh here, joining you from Columbus. And we are going to commence with the 10th Pauri of Asa Ki Vaar. And I am going to make an attempt to walk us through the Pauri and then invite the rest of you to help me out. So, with that, Salok Mahalla Pehla. I will read through the entire 40 first and then come back. Salok Mahalla Pehla. Kood Raja, Kood Parja, Kood Sab Sansar, Kood Mandap, Kood Madi, Kood Besanhar, Kood Soina, Kood Rupa, Kood Penanhar, Kood Kaya, Kood Kappad, Kood Roop Apar, ਕੂੜ ਮੀਆਂ ਕੂੜ ਬੀਬੀ ਖੱਪ ਹੋਏ ਖਾਰ ਕੂੜ ਕੂੜੇ ਨੇਹੋਂ ਲੱਗਾ ਵਿਸਰਿਆ ਕਰਤਾਰ ਕਿਸ ਨਾਲ ਕੀਚੈ ਦੋਸਤੀ ਸਭ ਜਗ ਚੱਲਨ ਹਾਰ ਕੂੜ ਮਿੱਠਾ ਕੂੜ ਮਾਖਿਓ ਕੂੜ ਡੋਬੇ ਪੂਰ ਨਾਨਕ ਵਖਾਣੇ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਤੁਧ ਬਾਜ ਕੂੜੋ ਕੂੜ ਮਹਿਲਾ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਸੱਚ ਤਾਂ ਪਰ ਜਾਣੀਐ ਜਾਂ ਹਿਰਦੇ ਸੱਚਾ ਹੋਏ ਕੂੜ ਕੀ ਮਲ ਉਤਰੈ ਤਨ ਕਰੇ ਹੱਛਾ ਧੋਏ ਸੱਚ ਤਾਂ ਪਰ ਜਾਣੀਐ ਜਾਂ ਸੱਚ ਤਰੇ ਪਿਆਰ ਨਾਮ ਸੁਣ ਮਨ ਰਹਿਸੀਐ ਤਾਂ ਪਾਏ ਮੋਖ ਦੁਆਰ ਸੱਚ ਤਾਂ ਪਰ ਜਾਣੀਐ ਜਾਂ ਜੁਗਤ ਜਾਣੇ ਜੀਓ ਤਰਤ ਕਾਇਆ ਸਾਧਕੈ ਵਿੱਚ ਦਇਆ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੀਓ ਸੱਚ ਤਾਂ ਪਰ ਜਾਣੀਐ ਜਾਂ ਸਿੱਖ ਸੱਚੀ ਲੈ ਦਇਆ ਜਾਣੇ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਕਿਛ ਪੁੰਨ ਦਾਨ ਕਰੇ ਸੱਚ ਤਾਂ ਪਰ ਜਾਣੀਐ ਜਾਂ ਆਤਮ ਤੀਰਥ ਕਰੇ ਨਿਵਾਸ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛ ਕੇ ਬਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਕਰੇ ਨਿਵਾਸ ਸੱਚ ਸਭਨਾ ਹੋਏ ਦਾਰੂ ਪਾਪ ਕੱਢੇ ਧੋਏ ਨਾਨਕ ਵਖਾਣੇ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਜਿਨ ਸੱਚ ਪੱਲੇ ਹੋਏ ਪੌੜੀ ਦਾਨ ਮਹਿੰਡਾ ਤਲੀ ਖਾਕ ਜੇ ਮਿਲੇ ਤਾਂ ਮਸਤਕ ਲਾਈਐ ਕੂੜਾ ਲਾਲਚ ਛੱਡੀਐ ਹੋਏ ਇੱਕ ਮਨ ਅਲਖ ਧਿਆਈਐ ਫਲ ਤੇ ਹੋਵੇ ਪਾਈਐ ਜਿਹਵੈ ਕਾਰ ਕਮਾਈਐ ਜੇ ਹੋਵੇ ਪੂਰਬ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਤਾਂ ਧੂੜ ਤਿਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਪਾਈਐ ਮਤ ਥੋੜੀ ਸੇਵ ਗਵਾਈਐ ਮਤ ਥੋੜੀ ਸੇਵ ਗਵਾਈਐ So that's the entire Pauri with the salok. So let's start again from the first line. And I think in this particular stanza, the what is, let's start with Kood Raja, Kood Parja, Kood Sab Sansar, Kood Mandap, Kood Madi. So what you will notice is that there is a repetition of the word Kood, which would lead me to believe that that is the word that we should try to understand. What exactly is being implied by Kood. And as we all know, in Punjabi, Kood means that which is not true. Uh, it could also stand for that which is unstable, that which is not unchanging. So I personally have taken it in that light, that which is just sthir nahi hai, that which is fleeting. So if you keep that in mind and you look at all of the pointers that Guruji is pointing to, you get the sense that he is trying to say that the world is really one of fleeting appearances. And here he lists out Raja, the kings, Kood Parja, their subjects, Sansar, the entire world, Mandap, Madi, buildings, mansions, royal canopies, Soina, Rupa, pen and har, gold, money, and those who possess it. Kood Kappad, Kood Roop Apar, clothing, all the different forms, Kood Mia, Kood Bibi, relationships between husbands and wives are all fleeting. That's the sense in which I have taken it. Kood kude neho laga visriya kartar. And he sums it all up by saying that we have become attached to neo laga, which is we've fallen in love with something that is fleeting, that is here today and not here tomorrow. And in that process, we have managed to forget kartar. The word here is kartar, Akal Purakh. And then he kind of, I think, raises the question of kis naal ki jai dosti sab jag chalanhar. Now, he's asking who shall be then. Dosti here, of course, means, dosti in colloquial usage means friendship. But I am taking it in the context of this paragraph. And I think what he's saying is who shall we then attach ourselves to when everything, sab jag chalanhar, Kood mitha kood makhyo kood dobe poor. So he's reminding us again that what is fleeting and what is passing is, of course, a source of great pleasure to us. And we all know that, right? We get attached to things, we get attached to relationships, we get attached to people. And but then he reminds us that kur dobe poor here means the multitudes, a lot of people, right? So we have all sort of gone down this path. And then he says, Nanak vakhane benti tud baj kuro kur. So without a connection, an inner connection, if you will, or a connection with the truth or a Kalpur, everything is for nothing. And then we move on to the next stanza here, which is Sach ta par janiye. I think he's contrasting between what is kur, in this case, uh, temporary, fleeting. I don't want to use the word unreal because it's not unreal, because in a previous context, he has said this is very real, Sache Tere Khand, right? So, so the fact is that it is not unreal, but it is fleeting. It's temporary. So here, I think he's giving us a reminder of how to then get past the world of appearances and attach ourselves to the unchanging truth behind this world of phenomena that we see. And here he instructs us, right? Sach ta par janiye ja hriday sacha hoye. So you have to establish that truth inside of your hriday, the heart, which is the deepest core of your being, not your physical heart, obviously. Kood ki mal utre tan kare acha toye. So with that, the next step is to basically remove kood ki mal, which is the grime of kood, the grime of this attachment that you have sort of lived with for so long. Sach ta par janiye, just sach tare pyar. So there has to be some degree of attachment with this truth. You have to learn to begin to look for it, attach yourself to it. Now sun man rahsiya ta paye mokh dwar. So again, there's instruction that you will attain to mokh dwar. Mokh dwar meaning, I just translate it as being spiritually sort of liberated or freedom. Uh, you have to get this instruction. And then here he emphasizes Sach ta par janiye jahan jukt jane jiyo. So jukt is method. What is that methodology? What is that technique? What is that gur that you have to know? Because he's saying you have to basically get the proper technique. And then here he's giving you some indication of what that technique might be. Tart kaya sadke which de karta biyo. So tart kaya sadke. So here he's talking about tart kaya, obviously refers to the ground of the body. Sadke. So sadke means, I think, literally means to perfect it. But the sort of meaning that I'm taking out of this is that you have in some ways to discipline the body. You have to make the body a receptor for Naam, a proper receptor for Naam, because without that, he says, then you which de karta biyo, then you sow the seed. So in other words, just as the farmer weeds out weeds and stones and rocks, prepares the field, the ground, to sow the seed, similarly, your body, so to speak, is the ground in which the seed is going to be sowed. So you have to essentially prepare it. What that means is you've got to discipline it in some ways. Sach ta par janiye jahan sikh sachi le. So not only should your method, but the message should also be the true one. And then here again, he gives us pointers as to what that might be. And that's the beauty of Barney, is that you get a lot of intimations, and then you make what you will of those. And what are these pointers here? Daya jane ji ki kich pun daan kare. So, these are some qualities that he's pointing to: compassion, charity. And here again, I think the charity is not one of sort of giving alms physically. I think charity is a state of being, just as compassion is a state of being, and they are related. Sach par janiye ja atam tirth kare navas. And here's the key: the tirath, the pilgrimage, is within you. So you will find, you will attach to the truth, or the truth will reveal itself to you if only you move inwards and find that quote unquote pilgrimage that is within you. And then he moves forward. He goes on to tell you how to do that, and that is Satguru nu puchke. Now we've talked about this a lot, so I won't dwell too much. Sadguru is the key, right? Sadguru nu puchke bhe bhe kare nivas. So you basically have to figure out how do you uh, get to the Sadguru. And I think in all of our discussions, we sort of turn around and come back to the same sort of notion. Uh, so I want to move on to skip the last line and get to the Pauri so that we can have a discussion, which is Dan Mehenda Tali Khak. Jai Mile Tamastak Laiye. So Guru Nanak is here, uh, is kind of beseeching the Akal Purukh to give him the gift, of this particular instruction. Jai Mile Tamastak Laiye. It simply means that I would absorb your instruction, I would understand your instruction. And then he goes on to say, Kuda lal chhadiye o ekman alaktiya. Again, there are pointers here, as to what you have to give up and how you have to sort of come to integrate your being and be able to uh, concentrate and focus and connect inwardly. Falteha paiye jhewa kar kamaiye. Again, a reminder that you're only going to get what you put in. Your actions are going to determine what's going to come out. So remember the definition of insanity: trying to do the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. That ain't going to happen. So je hove purab likhya ta torte na di paiye, mat thodi sev gavaiye. So basically saying that mat thodi sev gavaiye simply means that if you don't have the right attitude to absorb this instruction, then you basically are losing your opportunity. Je hove purab likhya is open to discussion, and I think I'm going to throw it out there. I think it simply means, to me at least, that if you have some preparation in the past, if you have made some preparation, then of course you will probably be the recipient of this kind of instruction. So that's my take. That, let me open the floor. Let me see who all is here. Chetandeep, you're there, I can see you. Do you want to start the process?
Hanji Virji, thank you for sharing your thoughts. So, if it's okay, can I ask you a few questions on what you explained?
Yeah, make them easy ones.
They're really easy, and I think I am the dumb one here who can't understand things. As you mentioned that we touched on this many, many times before, but honestly, I still don't get the hang of it. But the question I have here is like, as you mentioned, uh, around these lines, सच तापर जानिए जा आत्म तीरथ करे निवास सतगुरु न पूछ के बह रहे करे निवास, right? So I mean, at first it seems like a very simple translation or simple word meaning, and also you said move inwards, right? These are the words you use, move inwards. So,
Yeah.
and there I am stuck, or maybe my paradigm is completely wrong. So can you translate these two lines into action steps that I can do every day in easy layman language, that like how can I ask Sadhguru and where should I sit and Kare Nivas? Like some things that I can do on my in my practice, or something, or I'm thinking about it completely wrong.
um, I'll try. Okay, and then I'll have to ask the others to, since you've pointedly asked me that question. Um, So if you were to look at these lines, obviously to me, if I'm reading them, Sadguru nu Puchike, the first question I would ask is, who precisely is the Satguru, right? I mean, that would be the logical thing because he's referring to something called a Satguru. So if I knew nothing more, I would say, who is the Sadguru? Now, I also know, because thanks to all of you and our discussions, we've also figured out that, you know, we figured out that this, at least to the best of our ability, I want to make sure I don't say words like we've figured out because we haven't. But at least we get a sense from Gurbani that the Sadguru is actually it's a non-human sort of source, right? It's a non-human source that is a transforming power, and I'm just using my own words and my own terminology, right? And this transforming power, Guruji is telling us, actually exists within everyone and everything, right? And everyone, let us say. So the question then becomes, okay, so if this transforming force called Satguru exists within me, how do I get there? How do I connect with this, right? And then again, the previous line is saying that to do that, he's talking about Atam Tirath Kare Nivas. There's a clear indication here that and then in other places in Gurbani also, that this force is within you. So you just need to find that, right? How do you find that? And the instruction is in Gurbani. And I think no matter which way you look at it, on a daily basis, I think what has helped me try to figure this out is a daily engagement with Gurbani has taught me that this force is really not of the senses, it's a non human force that has led me into inquiring, again, based on Gurmat, right? And I want to give the others a chance here, is that he is here talking about a particular kind of transforming knowledge that, for want of a better word, I would call, our more mystical or intuitive capacities. We do have intuitive capacities that we are not fully cognizant of or in a position to fully leverage. So the question becomes, how do I basically get closer to that mystical knowledge that is already inside of me? And I think what I have learned is that the art of doing that is to sort of find ways to quieten your mind. It could be any way. I mean, it could be reading, understanding Gurbani, to basically find boundaries around your thought process. And it is a gradual process. It is a gradual process. And I think over time, although I suppose it happens suddenly to people, but at least my answer is that over time you begin to sense this, you begin to read it in some ways. But I will stop here and I want others to chime in. Anji Dilpreet Singh, let me, give up on this and let you jump in.
Hanji Virji, thank you. I think you covered it well. And I was looking at this Shabad, this shalok from the starting, as Guruji is saying that Sach Tam Par Jani je Hriday Sacha hoy, that you have to join with the truth or you have to be truthful from inside. And then again, as you explained, then he's saying that okay, you bring yourself in a discipline, and then that is the Tartasaya Kaya Sadhke, which they Kartabhyo. So all of things he is indicating. And then he's saying that the way I am taking is when he is referring to the Tirath is that it is you have who has to change. So work with yourself, and that it is inside, from inside you have to change. And then the Satgur nu puchke, that okay, all this Satgur I take as our Gurbani or the teachings or your inner voice or the voice behind the voice, whatever we can call the truth which comes, that you have to connect with that. And then again he is explaining what will happen if you connect. Such sabna hoy daru pav kadde toy, then okay, that then this is the medicine which will help you. And which will treat your paps, and Nanak Bakhane Benti Jin Sach Palle Hoy. So again, I think that by the word Tirath, he is saying that okay, it is applicable to you, and you need to work with it, and you need to change from inside, and your actions and other things start reflecting this. That's how I am taking it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. And before I move on to the next person, Chetandeep, I also want to add one thing very quickly. I mean, I spoke of the Sadguru as a transforming force that is inside of you. But, you know, in Sikhi, the meaning of the word guru itself has a spectrum of meanings. So we need to be very kind of careful because the guru is, you know, referring to the guru as Shabad. It's closely linked, right? So you've got to understand what that means. Then the guru is also you know, whether we refer to the 10 gurus as well, historically, right? We also refer to the guru as Guru Granth, which is our quote unquote scripture, right? Bani. That's guru too. So what I'm suggesting is that there are multi-layered sources of instruction out there that I think gradually lead you. If you think of this as a spectrum, that it leads you from the instruction in the words of the Guru Granth Sahib all the way to this transforming capacity that is inside of you. That is how I view that. Okay.
Usually, uh, thank you for responding to that, but I want to share my gripe here. The thing is, we can read this. At least I can read this body entire day, and we have spoken about it. That Satguru at one level is a transforming force, but I find this set of instruction very vague. I'm still not getting like what are the concrete action steps that I can do. That Guruji is going round and round or in circles, but there is no clear instructions. Yes, we can
There
speak.
are none. There are none, Chetandeep. All I can say to that is,
We can
you
speak.
from the way you are talking, right? And you and I have talked offline, so I have a fair sense of where you're coming from. I would suggest to you that as long as you're trying to grasp this intellectually, you'll never grasp it. So I think when I said looking for other sources of knowledge within you, like intuition. It has nothing to do with your intellectual process because you're looking for concrete actions. And I don't think that there are any concrete actions. Every action is peculiar to the individual. What you and I take away from this conversation is going to be peculiar to us. And I think that ultimately we have to get past this intellectualization, which is why we get trapped in this, because we are looking for some specific list of things to do. And I think those things are something that you have to figure out for yourself. I know you're on. Do you hear?
Hanji, I'm here. Yeah. Yes.
Haji. So would you like to add to what we have discussed so far?
Well, I appreciate your insight and also the question which came from Chetan Deep uh, about what are the concrete steps he's looking for. I think what we are doing, this is my opinion, that we look for a simplistic way to attain something which is insurmountable. Okay, and that is where we lose our reality that we want to get somewhere, but then we look for the simplest meanings, simplest ways of approaching that complex reality which is out there. I think this is it's a process, and it's the progressive steps we have to take. And also, my feeling is when Guru Sahib is saying Satgur nu puch ke be re kare nivas. Also, one has to understand that when in the poetic rendition, the words don't exactly mean how they are written. They are written to convey a broader meaning. Sadgur nu puch ke is not the asking the Satgur. My understanding from here is कि whatever Satgur has is saying. Satgur to me, although you mentioned, we say Guru to 10 Gurus, Guru Granth Sahib, we mention Guru, but my thinking is this reference to Guru is a conventional way of addressing a teacher. But in Gurbani, Guru has a very different meaning. It's not the conventional meaning we are giving. We say to our teacher, he's our Guru. Well, fine, that is, but in Gurbani, Gur and Guru has very specific meaning. And I think with our discussions, with insight I got from Gurjeet Veerji and discussions on this panel, I think there is a model which I have adopted, and it fits very well. Satguru is, of course, is manifested Guru outside, and Satgur is the Bani which is given to us. Here, Satgur Nupachke, that means the wisdom which has come down from Satgur. It's not we are asking the Satgur, the wisdom which has come down to us. Let's follow that wisdom. As we progress that this process, this path, those things, tangible things, what Chetan, Deep, Virji, and other people are looking for, they will come. They will come. It's not in the outside we lay out these things, we want to do it. You do seva, humility comes into that. You cannot be humble. You want to become humble? No. It is a process to become humble. The same way, the thing is, if we follow Gurbani, yes, and we are really doing the things what Gurbani is telling us, those tangible actions will evolve and they will be very clear to us. And that's the way I look at this
Hanji.
line and the question.
Hanji. Thank you, Ji. Gurjeet,
I'm in the driving mode. I have to pick up my son, but I've heard it's lucky that I got. I've been trying from so many days before this thing was crashing. What's the first most important point is Kudi Kude Nehe Lagga. We miss that one. You can't understand the whole concept. My buddhi has become Kudi, and it is now in association with the man, and the man is in association with the body, and the body further see matter. But Visarya Kartar is on the other side of it. The Kartar is also there. The Kudi has actually gone and shown her back to the Kartar. Now the Kudi has to become Satyari by just reverting back. Because the whole religion is just Akali Sahib Seviye. If my Akal has gone outside, which is Kood is just like a rubbish, which is of not use. Uda, Kudecho, whatever we have taken the stuff out, and whatever we throw is a Kuda. We don't go and connect to Kudas, but because this body has got the real stuff in it, the outside matter is only helpful. It's just like a package. We don't eat the package, we throw the package outside. So body is like a package, but whatever function is to be done by this Chaitan Buddhi. But she is in a state of Kudi. At this stage, she is not Satyari, which Dilpreet Virji very nicely used, but this time he hasn't. Kiv Satyara hoiye. This is the whole game. How the Buddhi can become Satyari. Then he says, Sachata par janiye, jan hriday sacha hoy. If the Man Buddhi comes into the Hriday, then it can obtain the essence of Sach. Because Sach is in the Hriday. It has to leave its normal location of worldly knowledge and get introvert to ultimately get into the Hriday. That's where the Sach process starts. Until we bring our Surat back into the Hriday, discuss the Gurbani from there, our journey is not on a start. So what does he say? Atam Tirath Kare Rivas. That Atam Tirath is within me. It's not outside. If my mind and want to stay within there, it constantly stays there. Then I'm in communication with Satguru, because now I have become Satgur myself. Before I was a Brahm, I constantly revert back to my changed my thinking. I'm constantly in my Hirda with the Shabad Vichar. Then the next step is then Satguru will come and talk to me. But until I go and do the Tirath, Atam Tirath Nivas, that second step doesn't happen. This is the basic theory of it.
thank you,
So
Ji.
first, Hanji.
So how the shloks are related to the body? So basically, like there are two slokas and then the body. So how you connect the whole thing? Like what is the main message in the body and how the shloks are related to it?
Well, I think VG Gurjeet Singh gave a very thorough explanation of it, right? So, I mean, I can't really add anything to what he's already said. That you're right now. You're in the wrong place. You're connected to your mind. You've sort of gotten attached to the world of appearances, and then on the other side is contrasted the truth, right? I mean, so I think we went through that. That's how I understand that. Does anybody else, Dilpreet? Do you want to uh, respond to Harvinder on how the slopes are?
I can try. See, usually what I have learned reading is that Pauri is like the Rahau in the Shabad, and Shloks explain the Pauri further. So if we see this Pauri, it says that, right, Fal Tehova Paiye, Jehivi Kar Kamaiye. See, whatever you do, you will get that. And then it also has a reference to the word Kood. It says, Kooda lalach chhadiye. Hoi ik man alakte aiye. So I think this, it is not saying that we have to be away from all this. It is saying that these things are temporary. And the kuda lalach is that, because that is where I was also thinking that one side Guruji is saying that cool Mia Mia Kud Bibi and then Kud Soina, Kud Rupa and Raja and everything. But on the other side, we are not asked that okay, we should leave these things and go to the jungle and do tapasya and all that. Guruji is not saying that path also. It is saying that you have to be within this, but at the same time you have to understand the importance of this and don't fall for this and don't do wrong things under the influence of this. I think that is how this body is, and the shloks are explaining that further, that under the influence of this, don't do the wrong things, be strong inside, be connected to the truth, and that is how you will overcome, and your decisions will not be influenced by these outer attachments or these things. You will not fall for them and make wrong decisions.
Right. Thank you. So, just to amplify on what you've just said, so there's a saying that you're all familiar with. I think it's saying "lalach chadiye." You've got to give up lalach, attachment. So it is saying be in this world, as you're saying, but don't be of it. Okay. So, and there is a huge difference. You have to live through this world without getting attached to it, essentially. Ulaj jana ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, that I think is the caution here. Um, is Gurdeep Singh ji back,
Uh, he,
or
he's trying.
he's trying?
Yeah, in the meantime, Vijay, how you take the last line? Mat thodi save gawaiye.
Give us a head start on this. मत
ਹਾਂਜੀ
थोड़ी सेव गवाइए, मत थोड़ी सेव गवाइए.
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਵੀਰ ਜੀ ਮਤਲਬ everyone is trying to approach him one way or the other. It's not that people are not approaching him. Everyone has a liking, but from where he's getting this knowledge of interacting with him. So has he got to a Satguru to take this knowledge? Has he gone to a composition or a person who has that himself? Is na aap jape for whosoever aap mukt mukt kare sansar. Has
So
he
the
got?
source of your knowledge must be. It's important to go to the right source.
Hanji. Otherwise, everyone is serving him, but because they don't have his right picture, they with the less knowledge, they thinking they are serving him, but they might not be serving him because they haven't got the right map, or we still have a map in this. Until we see him, we just have map. We are getting closer and closer, improving. Until you just merge with him, you don't know what the reality is before that. But you are getting closer. But if someone says, Kabirji says, he give a very simple example. Pahan Parmeshwar kiya puja sab sansar. He says, how come the Parmeshwar, the creator of the world, can be used, a stone can be used as a. Yes, at least you should be using Gyan as a source. And with less Gyan also, it becomes really hard. And then also, the Kam Krolo Hankar comes in, Hankar comes in. If you have a little bit of knowledge, people think, oh, yeah, then you're stagnant, you can't grow. So all these factors come in. Even with the right source, if the Hankar comes in of that, I know this much, then also you can't reach. So everyone is serving him, but lack of proper, first of all,
So right
scriptures.
knowledge, right source, right attitude, right method. It just has to sort of
Hanji,
all
yes.
be
It all
okay.
has to be combined together.
Thank you, Ji. Anji, Ranavir Ji, back to you.
हाँ जी मत थोड़ी सी गवाही है again I look at the word thodi in a different I put a different lens on that one that if you don't have it's not thodi means that is less basically if you do not have the right message gurbani message the wisdom then whatever you're doing these become rituals so it is very important to have the right wisdom and only then whatever action you are doing you can infer well those actions are ritualistic or they are really worthwhile so that's the way I look at the line.
ठीक है जी. Thank you. Let's do our second round. So Chetan Deep, we started with you. Second round. Any other questions that nobody has an answer to?
Uh, so I was trying to compare the first stanza with the stanza that came previously, I think in second body, right? Sache tere khand, sache brahman, sache tere lo, sache akar, sache tere karne sarv vichar, right? The whole.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing that I found interesting is, I'm just going to share some observations. The one thing that was interesting to me was like in that particular stanza, everything was relating to Kudrat and Hukam. And in this stanza, everything, the words that he used are kind of man-made, like the basically has risen from the thought, like Raja or Parja or
Mm-hmm.
Rupa or Mia, Bibi, even the marriage,
Mm-hmm.
every man-made construct or a construct that has risen from thought.
Mm-hmm.
And that got me thinking, like in the first Pankti, it also says food is sansar. But then sansar is sansar is sansar. So either what do we understand by sansar? Or it also says to the baj kudo kud, like everything without it. But then nothing is without such, right? Everything is basically one. But that suddenly a thought popped in my head, like the could, as you rightly said, can be translated as impermanent or fleeting. But could it also be translated as attachment to? For example, if we were to read this body again with attachment to Raja or attachment to Parja or attachment to Samsar, attachment to all these things is basically falsehood or is impermanent.
Yeah, I mean, he says that, right? I mean, when Guruji is saying "Kude neo laga," right? He's summing it all up by saying that we've become attached to this world of appearances or to a fleeting, impermanent world, and we've gotten caught up in it.
So that's the way I was able to resolve like Kud Sab Sansar. Like on one hand, he thinks Sache Tere Khand, Sache Brahmand, Sache Tere Lo, Sache Akar. But if I translate, like that also is Sansar.
But I think I would also add to that, and I'll give others a chance. I mean, to me, when you say that Satchitere Khand and all refers to Kudrat, and this is all man-made, I think the indication here also is that sansar, that it is not just our physical selves that is, in line with duty. We also live in a world of mental constructs, right? We are also operating in a mental world, in a world of thoughts, where we create a lot of these things, right?
Right.
So that could be sansar. We've created the sansar through our thought process,
But
and
even if
that might be it.
but even if we take it as to be a physical Sansar, what helps
No,
me
I mean,
that
I think the mental the mental sansar we have created affects the physical sansar because it forces us to act in ways that we shouldn't act, as Gurjeet Virji was saying. So the
right,
world's being created inside your mind, and it's being played out in the physical world.
right,
But
right.
right. So let me, Dilpreet Singh, do you want to chime in on that? I want others to weigh in on this too. I mean, I think that sansar is the world of your thought that is being played out physically because it forces you to act.
Hanji Virji, I think that is, if we take attachment, then it takes more sense. It makes more sense that, okay, again and again, we should not do things under the influence of that attachment, which are not in line with the truth.
Yeah,
I
which is
think
the
that,
kudi buddhi
right,
that
right.
Gurjeet Virji is talking
I
about,
think
right?
that is all the whole thing is, that once you apply this, your thought process and your actions will change and it will reflect.
Hanji.
And then on this mat thodi sev gavaiye, what else was coming to my mind was that this mat thodi also, I am thinking, is representation of manmukh, that whatever the manmukh is and then whatever they do, it is worthless. I think it is the another word for that, or representing the same kind of concept there.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. जी गुरदीप विजित जी आ गए हो?
नहीं चल नहीं रहा ना तो.
Another chal nahi raha. All right. I'm about out of questions. Rana Virji, do you want to end this session with some closing thoughts? A minute or so to wrap up.
And you get the honor to wrap it up. But let me, I think the word Kur and Chirandi, because I was not part of the previous discussion, कि everything is true. Guru Sahib ने previous श्लोक ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀਤਾ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ है, but here he is talking about Kur. I think what Guru Sahib in that point is telling us, the world is real. Okay, the world, the way Guru Sahib is saying is real. But here in this body, what is saying that what we are looking, what our mental picture of the world is when we are looking a light, white light, is not the white light. It's totally false. And I spent a lot of time on this one, not on the body, but because there's one question which I raised many times, bothered me, and I have spending hours and hours and hours on that, reading a lot of things on that. Who am I? Which I was basically told that I'm paranoid or something. But when I dig into that question, what I came to know that here, what we are looking, Guru Sahib is carried, these are all transitory things, and these are the mental pictures. If you are looking at house in front of you, the same house you are looking at, what I'm looking is, although we are saying the same house, but what we are looking is a very different pictures. We cannot explain the congruence in those pictures. And that's what I'm getting at, because that leads me to Chetan's previous question, okay, what actions I can take. My answer is, before you can take any action, the thought has to come into your mind. Without thought, you cannot take an action. And for thought, you see, the brain is so powerful with 100 billion of neurons. I spend a lot of time thinking about that, that your thoughts you're talking about, you have only two things you can do. Everything else is non-voluntary. Only two things. One is what environmental things you're getting. Sangat is the most important thing. And the second thing you have under control is meditation. I came to these, everything else is going to fall into place if you do right company. And when I read that, I thought, what an amazing Guru Sahib have said in Gurbani, which, how come he came to that? And after spending weeks, months on this thing, reading a lot of things about
So you're clearly
neuroscience
not
and
following your own advice.
sorry,
I said you're clearly not following your own advice. You
maybe
told Chetandeep not to spend to find simple reading, answers by reading. I'm just joking.
no
I'm
no no
just
no
being
no
how physicians.
no,
But
no,
I mean,
sorry
have
sir.
to spend. I think isn't that what we said? We have to really step aside from exerting our thoughts too much at the end of the day, because you said something to the effect that this reality is insurmountable. I think that's the word you used. And for us to look for explanations in mental categories or linguistic categories is really not going to get you there.
No. The what I'm saying is, the point I'm making is the Gurbani, the everything which Guru Sahib has written is so amazing that the whole thesis boils down to two things: Sangat and Nam Simran. And that's when I think about all those things, that only way you can alter your thoughts, okay, good thoughts which are going to come is with what environmental the information you are getting in, because you're getting it every second. You're getting it right now. You're looking at the screen, you're getting it, and a lot of things are happening in your mind. Okay, when you look at the interaction of this 100 billion pathways over there, I did some calculations which I will share at
So,
one time when it's
Ranaviji,
complete.
we want to wrap up. So, 30 seconds.
मैं थोड़ा
Okay,
संसार
so
बारे can
Hold
I
on,
say something about
Gurjit
संसार?
Virji, hold on. I'll come to you. I'll come to you. So, thank you,
okay,
Ranaviji.
so
I'm sorry I have to cut
okay,
you off,
thank you,
but we have to wrap up. Anji
thank
Gurjit
you.
Virji, you have a minute to wrap up.
हाँ जी मेरी संसार is a realm in which there is doubt in the mind. That's a sansar. ऐसा है संसार है, and the doubts are there about profit and loss and dying and surviving. So when you are out the sansar, you're in a different realm, but all your doubts are away. So when you are in this, then you feel all these things, and within this doubt, everything is not true because it is like a dream. Supan samanang. How you can understand that is better. It's not reality, it's like a dream. When the dream breaks, everything looks unreal, but within the dream, everything is true. So this is how we understand sansar.
TK thank you very much.
Actually, Ravinder,
Thank you very much, Ji, for everyone's participation. We are past our time, and I want to hold ourselves to our time here. Sorry, Harvinder, we'll have to take this up separately or in the blog or next time. But that said, very enlightening. Thank you very much, all of you. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki
Waheguru Ji ki
Fateh.
Fateh.